The environmental impact on the lake will cause substantial damage.
Why some longtime Gallatin voters want to turn the tide on this project.
Plus, voting rights in jeopardy, why these letters are popping up in some mid-state mailboxes and why those on the receiving end call it a big mistake.
Kindness, joy, and love. The words found all along the walls on the remodeled Covenant School. The Inside Look is Fox 17 News at 9 starts now.
Middle Tennessee's only primetime news. This is Fox 17 News at 9, your Code Red station.
We start tonight with a Code Red weather alert for possible storms tomorrow.
Our break from the heat could come along with some damaging winds. Fox 17 Code Red Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan tracking the system right now, and it's not just tomorrow we have to worry about for some of our folks.
Yeah, we're watching a few storms in southern Kentucky this evening. I'm not overly concerned with the severe threat for tonight, but there will be some rumbles of thunder. So if you're up towards Hopkinsville, Russelville, you may be hearing some thunder out there. I'll show you where they are in a second. Tomorrow, though, is our main focus for anything that could be severe, and it will be isolated. We're not expecting a widespread severe weather, but a couple of these, again, could produce some damaging wind gusts. And then when we're not seeing the rain, we could see some pretty high heat with a few reaching heat index values into the 105 to 110 range. As we take a look at tonight, first off, you can see that we do have a very small risk for severe weather to our north and to our west. Again, I would say that we've got a very small risk for these storms to turn severe. Most of them, in fact, over the past hour have weakened considerably, and they're also shrinking as well. But nonetheless, quite a bit of lightning associated with these storms here just outside our viewing area in southern Kentucky. There you can actually see an outflow boundary associated with the storms as well. That's the line that you see on the radar. Everything else is quiet for tonight. Again, the storm threat that we're looking at for tomorrow will be the one that we're more focused on for anything that could be severe with wind. This is 2 a.m. and a few clusters of thunderstorms may continue to be possible through the overnight. We'll bring some rain and probably gusts of wind 30, maybe 40 miles per hour and a quick burst of rainfall. But generally looking at quiet conditions all the way through tomorrow morning. But notice as we get into the late morning hours, we'll start to see a few more showers pop up. The best threat for severe weather should come later in the afternoon, mainly after 2 o'clock. But we will continue to track the heat along with the rain. We'll have the latest on how high temperatures could be for tomorrow and how long the heat is expected to be with us. All coming up.
Well, new tonight, 14,000 letters sent to those living in Tennessee asking to be sure they're U.S. citizens before they can vote in the next election. The state says this is about election integrity, but some don't see it that way. Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar joining us live from the state capitol tonight with the controversy. Karen?
Some people who have received this letter say they are U.S. citizens and have been for years. So the question is, why now?
Our office has received information that appears to indicate that your voter information matches with an individual who may not have been a United States citizen.
Maria Murguia received this letter in the mail, questioning whether or not she is a U.S. citizen ahead of the election. It outlines if she votes and is not a U.S. citizen, she can end up in jail or even pay a fine.
Illegal voting is a felony.
But she tells me she came to the U.S. at a young age and is a naturalized citizen.
I think it's concerning because naturalized citizens have the same right to vote as citizens who were born in the United States.
She tells me she has even voted before. She says this letter comes as a surprise and hopes it won't stop people from voting.
I'm just worried that it'll deter some people who receive that letter and are concerned about their right to vote.
Have you ever voted illegally?
I have never voted illegally.
The Tennessee Secretary of State's office says a division of elections sent out more than 14,000 of these letters to ensure election integrity. Steve Gill, a conservative radio host, says that's the way it should be.
I don't think they should feel offended, particularly if there is a gap period between when people come to the country and later become citizens.
Tennessee Coordinator of Elections Mark Goins says in part in his statement, although someone might be naturalized, they need to update their records with the Department of Safety and Homeland Security.
And I think letting people know that they ought to clarify their records before they maybe commit a crime is a good thing.
Maria says these letters shouldn't stop those who fought to become citizens.
It's important for them to know that their vote matters just as much as individuals that were born here.
If anybody has any questions about the letter and received it, you can contact the Elections Division. That number is on our website at Fox.
The environmental impact on the lake will cause substantial damage.
I think they need another marina here.
Continuing coverage tonight on a proposed marina project on Old Hickory Lake in Gallatin. Some people who live nearby tell us they're afraid a new marina will ruin their little piece of heaven. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers will have the final say here. Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller's live downtown outside the Army Corps' Tennessee headquarters with more on reaction to this marina proposal.
Yes, well, a marina owner that we spoke with says that this proposed marina would have a negative impact on the boating community and environment, while a boater we spoke with says that they need more boat slips for the increase in demand out on Old Hickory Lake. Alan Coker grew up hitting the water at Old Hickory Lake.
This is my therapy, is jet skiing.
Coker says he'd like to see the proposed Foxland Harbor Marina built right next to the Station Creek boat ramp in Gallatin.
I think they need another marina here. My sister and them just left the one up east of here, and the Corps of Engineers will not dredge it out because it needs dredging. It's only that deep, and they had trouble getting out.
Coker says it's hard to get into a marina with the increase in demand.
So here at Gallatin Marina, we have just over 400 boats in both of our...
Nate Rubright, CEO of Rubright Marinas, owns Gallatin Marina. Rubright says the damage to the community and environment with a marina in that location would be detrimental.
The environmental impact on the lake will cause substantial damage to the fish population, the amount of sticks, the amount of debris that caused in the lakes, and then also there'll be a significant safety hazard for recreational boating.
According to the Army Corps of Engineers, the project consists of a dry storage facility, boat slips, fuel dock, restaurant, and parking areas. This could bring up to 400 new boaters to the lake. And Rubright says it would be in the heart of the area where most people tube, water ski, and swim. Rubright says they talked to the Army Corps of Engineers about a safer solution.
So we are committed to expand our marina as well as our dry storage facility and our facilities in general to fulfill any market demand and any boater growth that will occur in the area.
Rubright says they can add 150 more boat slips by the spring and says Cherokee Marina can build 50 more boat slips on this lake by the end of the summer. Now, the Army Corps of Engineers says that an assessment draft is currently being written by a consultant, and then the Corps of Engineers will end up evaluating that. And this document will be available for public review, they say, within the month. Reporting live from downtown, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
Thank you, Caitlin. Up next, boredom during the summer can quickly turn into extra screen time for your kids. How and why?
22 million children living in America rely on schools for their meals. Fox 17 News and our parent company, Sinclair Broadcasting, are partnering with Feed America for the Sinclair Cares Summer Hunger Relief Program. You can donate by scanning the QR code on your screen or go to sinclaircares.com.
In health news tonight, with school out for the summer, Alice Cooper there, you may have a screenager on your hands. Video games, cell phones, computers, all those screens are a powerful draw. Children between 8 and 18 spend an average of 8 hours a day in front of one of those screens. This is according to the Kaiser Family Foundation. And experts say all that screen time can have a negative impact on the emotional and the physical health of your child.
Particularly for our children and our teens, the recommendation is less than 2 hours a day of screen time.
Parents are encouraged to create screen-free times and places. For instance, no screens in the bedroom, maybe no screens during a mealtime or family time.
In your entertainment news, the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum teaming up with the Nashville Ballet to celebrate Chet Atkins' 100th birthday. And joining us now is Lisa Purcell with the Country Music Hall of Fame and Nick Mulliken with the Nashville Ballet. Thank you both for being here.
Of course. Thank you so much for having us.
So how did this unique project come about?
This project has been so much fun from jump. We have a board trustee, David Conrad, who happened to be a mentee of Chet Atkins, and he had been hearing the Jitterbug Waltz song, which is from Chet's 1959 album, Chet and Hollywood, and was just envisioning this beautiful ballet in the Hall of Fame rotunda. And as we were approaching Chet's 100th birthday, we were curious if we could make the dream of realizing this a reality. And it was a great fun to reach out to Nick and share the music and share the vision. And the second we shared the music with Nick, he shared that his foot was already tapping and he could hear it and see it. The rest is his artistic mastery.
That's awesome. And Nick, was it hard to go back and depict the era with everything from the costumes to the dance and the presentation?
Actually, it wasn't. So David shared such a beautiful vision. It was very articulate of seeing a woman, I think, floating almost is the way that he described it, through the rotunda at the Hall of Fame. And so the first thing that I had to do was actually go and visit the Hall of Fame. I'd actually never been before. And when we saw the Thomas Hart Benton painting sort of adorning and dominating the room, it just made sense to bring those characters to life. And so basically that's what we did, is we took that along with the music and brought that painting to life in that beautiful space.
Wow, I love hearing the backstory here. All of the making that goes into putting on this beautiful presentation. Is this the first of its kind collaboration between the Nashville Ballet and the Country Music Hall of Fame?
It is. Nashville nonprofit arts and cultural organizations really enjoy collaborating. It's an atypical collaboration, but we hope it will become a regular one between the ballet and the museum. What a fortuitous moment to have such a vision for what could be a celebration of a birthday, and what a neat opportunity for our creative teams to work together to articulate it and share the story and confound expectations of how nonprofits might collaborate or storytell. It's just a beautiful community.
That was my next question, wondering if there were any future plans of a collaboration. Where can we find this video presentation? It's 3 minutes long, right?
It is.
Yes, trying to make sure. Sorry, Lisa. I don't want to step on anybody's toes here. It is 3 minutes long. It's presented on YouTube, actually hosted on the Country Music Hall of Fame site, and they have done such a fantastic job of giving background and information and really sharing with the audience a great deal of education that I think helps to really give a new level of magic to the piece.
Well, that's amazing. We'll put it on our website at fox17.com. Nick and Lisa, thank you both for joining us tonight. Can't wait to check it out.
Thank you so much.
Love that. Love Chet Atkins. Don't love the heat, and maybe if we're lucky to get a little rain tomorrow without trouble, it'll cool off a smidge.
A little bit, and that's kind of, give and take. We're looking at the potential for a few strong thunderstorms, but it will cool us off if we get it. So we kind of have a little bit of both that we're going to be looking out for tomorrow here. Storms that could be strong to severe should be isolated in nature, but we will find the potential for some heavy rain within these storms. Along with that, gusty winds and some hail. Microbursts could be possible, and we'll talk a little bit more about what exactly is a microburst coming up in just a little bit. As far as our threat goes for tomorrow, really it is all across Middle Tennessee and Southern Kentucky. It's a level 1 out of 5 threat. Remember that level 1's on that low end, so there is an isolated risk for a stray strong thunderstorm or two, but I think a good amount of us could at least see some rain for tomorrow. 1 or 2 strong thunderstorms then would be the possibility for us. 9 a.m. tomorrow here. Future Track not really bringing in a lot. We've had a few of those thunderstorms up in Southern Kentucky, and overnight we may find 1 or 2 just kind of hang out up here to the northwest, but really not overly concerned with severe weather for tonight. It'll mainly be tomorrow. Now, this is the latest run from Future Track right around 12 noon. It does look a little bit more aggressive to our west here. And notice as we head later in the afternoon hours, a line moving through here could bring us some showers and thunderstorms. Again, a couple of these could be on the strong side. Now, this is the latest run from Future Track, and I will say it is the most aggressive that I've seen in the past few days. So we'll take this one and we'll file that one away. And the next few model runs that come out, out by tomorrow morning when you're tuning in with meteorologist Brett Luna. We'll want to see if this is still showing that line, and that gives us a little more confidence that we could be looking at some widespread showers moving through here. Again, I don't expect widespread severe weather, but the chances of rain at least will be a little higher than the severe weather threat for tomorrow, if that makes sense. 6 p.m. here, you can see a shower or two still possible, and I would say even through about 9-10 p.m. before we start to completely clear out from west to east. So the heat for tomorrow will be highly dependent on how fast these rain showers move in and how widespread they are. If we are able to see more dry air around later in the afternoon, that's when we're going to be dealing with more of a heat issue for tomorrow. So rain chances for the week. Tomorrow will be the best chance for rain. We dry out for a few days, and then going into the weekend, some run-of-the-mill pop-up showers and storms. Temperatures for tomorrow here again will be highly dependent on how long we are dry. Longer we stay dry, the higher the heat. Temperature around 95 at 2 o'clock. Showers and thunderstorms will be rolling through about that time, and so we will likely see a drop in the numbers. In fact, heat index values here kind of cool. If we take you through the late morning hours, you can see that we'll be up to maybe 101, 102. 103, 104, possibly, but look what happens after 12 noon. You can see where the change is starting to occur, and that'll be where the front is. So the model is indicating that there's rain here, and that's why we see a really drastic cool down as we head through the afternoon hours. So some rain would be nice just to help lessen the heat a little bit, give us a little bit of relief, but unfortunately it'll be short-lived, as I expect a lot of heat to return as we head towards the weekend with those heat index values well over 100 again. We'll talk more about that coming up a little later in your Fox 17 Code Red forecast. How many days do you think we'll hit 100? We were just talking about the 100-degree days for 2024. We have not hit it yet, I will say. And notice that there are quite a few people, 372 votes. In fact, I think we're going to see 6 or more. That's quite a lot. Last year we had 2, so and that's a lot for even 1 year. So if you'd like to vote,
In education news tonight, millions of people with student loans are wondering how a key court could impact their bottom line.
As Fox 17 News' Matt Galka shows us, that's because 2 different federal judges have put the brakes on President Biden's plan to provide student debt relief. Now, you can let us know what you think by scanning the QR code that will appear on your screen during our story.
A new program called the SAVE Plan. It's the most affordable student loan plan ever.
Large portions of President Joe Biden's student loan repayment plan are now on hold after 2 federal judges halted it. The ruling came about a week before millions of borrowers were set to see lower payments through the plan. Attorney generals in Kansas, Missouri, and other states argued the SAVE plan was an attempt to get around a Supreme Court ruling blocking student debt forgiveness last year.
It was a promise made by the Biden administration, but even Nancy Pelosi and other commentators on the left at the time said that they don't have the authority to do these types of things.
Education Secretary Miguel Cardona said the administration will continue pushing for debt relief, releasing a statement that read in part, Republican elected officials and special interests sued to block their own constituents from being able to benefit from this plan. Republicans have continually bashed the loan forgiveness efforts as bailouts on the backs of other taxpayers who paid their loans.
When the Supreme Court ruled against him, then he just said, hey, we'll figure a different way to do it. He is bypassing the other 2 branches of government to push an ideological view.
Around 4 million people qualified to have their loan repayment be 0 under the SAVE plan because they didn't make enough money, and it reduced the payments of others based on income requirements. The judge's rulings temporarily stopped the administration from new student loan forgiveness. House Budget Chairman Jody Arrington says the administration's moves just keep piling on unsustainable debt.
The unilateral executive actions, the cost there is a total of $2 trillion. A third of which is the student loan bailout. So we're now at the highest level of annual deficit.
Multiple polls have shown that student loan forgiveness is a very divisive issue for voters. And a Bankrate survey for this month shows that about 1 in 5 voters say student debt will impact their vote. Reporting in Washington, I'm Matt Galka.
Putting on a fresh face, the changes at the Covenant School in Greenbrier.
We are in this next chapter, and we are thankful to be back in this space.
New messages of hope and healing written on the walls as the Covenant School opens its doors to Fox 17.
Well, this comes more than a year after an active shooter killed 6 people at the school, including 3 children. Fox 17 News' Kylie Walker has more on the changes and what it represents.
The last 15 months have brought so many emotions, from deep loss and pain to healing and hope. It's something that you can feel in each room that you walk into as you walk through the campus.
To display them just as a reminder to everybody that we're not alone.
Meaning can be found in every little detail, from the painted hallways to the writings on the wall.
If you were here earlier, you could hear all the chitter chatter and the giggles, and it clears the fog.
Head of school Trudy Water showing us the new additions on Tuesday morning. It symbolizes the next chapter while also honoring the past.
It's just hard to hold that really hard and that really hopeful in the same space, and we've had to learn to do it.
With a special meaning behind the rainbow displayed in several rooms across campus.
The rainbow kept appearing for weeks after March 27th.
Water says in the weeks following, that rainbow appeared at several locations that had a connection to the Covenant School.
We just felt like God was really a part of everything, even in the darkest times. He continued to show up with his hope.
And at the end of that hallway, this large painting hung on the wall with a message from every single student and staff member.
Of something that reminded them of one of the 6 whose life we lost on the 27th.
With contributions coming in from big names across the country, including Billy Joel, who supported the school's performing arts program.
We dreamed, but then they showed up.
With new lighting, sound systems, instruments, and performing space, Joel now taking to social media to say, quote, "We believe in the power of music to bring joy and foster healing." There's a whole list of contributors and donors from across the country and even across the world who have put in so much time, effort, and empathy. We have this whole list on our website, fox17.com. Waters also says that she's so thankful for all of the people who wrapped their arms around them during this difficult time. For now, reporting in Green Hills, Kylie Walker, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
An update tonight to a story that you saw last night right here on Fox 17 News at 9. John Cripps contacting Fox 17 News after he says that his calls concerning flooding on his property were falling on deaf ears. Metro Water says its stormwater team will now be taking a look at the area. So we're making some progress here because of our reporting, and we will certainly keep you posted.
An update now on another story we've been following, this one in Gallatin. Tonight, the Gallatin City Council appointed Aaron Allison to replace former council member Eileen George, who resigned unexpectedly 3 weeks ago. George at the time said she was being bullied by fellow council member Pascal Jovance and his supporters. Jovance said it wasn't true and has since threatened to sue. Allison will be sworn in at the regular Gallatin City Council meeting next Tuesday.
We get more into the summer months, and we're going to hear the term microburst more and more. Goes along with summertime weather. What is a microburst? Well, it all begins with a strong updraft within a thunderstorm. We have winds going into the storm, and that helps to build those cloud tops. Eventually, cold air will start to pool inside that cloud. That's also, too, how we end up getting hail out of some of these thunderstorms here. But the storm begins to decay, and once it does so, we get a strong burst of wind that goes all the way to the surface. That is our downburst of wind that can create damage. And it is the reason why we're in a code red alert for tonight. Now, tomorrow we could have what are called microbursts. And the microburst, as opposed to a macroburst, would be anything that is less than 2.5 miles wide. If it is less than 2.5 miles wide, we call it a microburst.
Rocky Top reaches the mountaintop of college baseball. More reaction from the Vols, including what Peyton Manning had to say after the win.
Hey there, I'm Jennifer Waddell from Fox 17 News this morning. Listen, prospective home buyers are facing the most expensive housing market in at least 30 years.
Well, this is a live look right now over our state capitol tonight, lit up in orange to celebrate the Tennessee Vols College World Series championship last night.
I gotta say, that looks good awash in orange tonight. Fox 17 Sports Director Jill Jelnick now with more on the big win for the Vols and the Predators in sports tonight.
Very surreal. Hard to center yourself, which is a good thing. Being lost in the moment, I guess. Nothing too intelligent to say, other than the first thing to say is I hope the fans that have turned this into an insane party, an insane event, got the series that they wanted and that they deserved.
Head coach Tony Vitello quick to mention the fans after winning the program's first ever national title. He knows how long it's been since the school won a championship, 2009 to be exact, and another Vol that knows how long it's been? This guy, legendary quarterback Peyton Manning. He was there for Game 3 last night, cheering on the Vols as they beat Texas A&M, and he knows just how special a moment this is for the University of Tennessee.
It's awesome. It's awesome. I don't know any other word to describe it, right? We've been knocking on the door these past several years, and we've been close, kind of had our heart, ripped out, but you keep fighting, right? You don't say, hey, that was our shot, now, we're never get another shot. You just keep fighting, right? And I kind of live that as a player, and I have a real appreciation for Tony and these players for just continuing to fight and saying, hey, we're doing something right. Let's just keep knocking on the door. Let's keep sawing wood, and good things are going to happen, and they sure did happen tonight in Omaha.
Nashville Predators making more moves this offseason and today acquiring 19-year-old defenseman Andrew Gibson from the Detroit Red Wings. Gibson was a second-round pick by the Red Wings in last year's draft. He scored 12 goals and 32 assists in 68 games in the Ontario Hockey League earlier this season. In return, Preds will send forward Jesse Kinskinen and a second-round pick. Preds also releasing their preseason schedule today, 6 games total, which include matchups against Carolina Hurricanes, Tampa Bay Lightning, and recently crowned Stanley Cup champions, the Florida Panthers. First 2 games will be against the champs. That will be a doubleheader on Sunday, September 22nd. And exciting news for the franchise today as former general manager David Poile and former defenseman Shea Weber have both been elected to the Hockey Hall of Fame. Poile will join the hall as a builder. Weber will join as a player. But a special moment for the organization, especially since Poile and Weber are the very first members of the Preds to be inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame. A big congrats to them, the first, but certainly not the last. Jill Jelnick, Fox 17 Sports, your Code Red station.
Coming up, keeping an eye on the radar. Also, a look ahead at more high heat headed your way.
And the future of health care, why more of your primary care visits. In health news, the life expectancy for Americans is going up again following a 2-year dip because of the pandemic. And that longer life is putting pressure on health care providers. Joining us now with more on this is Stephen Ferreira, president of the American Association of Nurse Practitioners, who's in Nashville this week for a national convention. Stephen, first of all, welcome to Music City.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm here with 5,000 of my nurse practitioner colleagues and hundreds from Tennessee.
That's great. Glad to have you. Now, what role are you and those colleagues playing in the increasing need for primary health care here and across the country?
Yeah, absolutely. So nurse practitioners are responsible for over 1 billion patient visits annually in the U.S. We are there to provide primary health care to our patients and make sure that patients are getting the access to health care that they need to focus on health promotion and wellness, as in addition to disease prevention and taking care of their chronic conditions.
I went looking for numbers and found out that the Federal Bureau of Labor Statistics is predicting a need for another 100,000 nurse practitioners between now and 2032. My question is, are there training spots for all those people? And are those spots hard to fill, or is this a job people are lining up for?
Well, the nurse practitioner role has actually been named the U.S. News and World Report #1 job overall. So we're really excited to see the attention on the nurse practitioner role. Schools are competitive for nurse practitioner. So we want to make sure that there's a pipeline, a future workforce. We want to make sure that there's adequate faculty that can prepare these nurse practitioners of the future. So certainly we want to make sure that all of this is happening as we move forward. And, it can be a challenge. And that's why we're constantly looking for, additional support in these programs.
With more nurse practitioners out there providing care, I've read that there have been some issues getting insurance companies to properly reimburse you and your colleagues for value-based treatments. What are those, and is that still an issue?
It is still an issue. We have some bills that we focus on at the federal level that would help to ease some of those challenges, particularly with Medicare. So we have, bring attention to our lawmakers so that nurse practitioner provided care certainly gets the reimbursement that's required for the complexity of today's patients.
Sure, that's a tough job for GPs too. In your mind, is there actually a benefit with choosing a nurse practitioner? And these days, a lot of people can choose for primary care rather than trying to find a medical doctor who's still accepting new patients.
That's right. Access to care is critical for all individuals, and that's why we believe that nurse practitioners are a key solution to being able to provide essential access to care. And you did say choose nurse practitioners, and we are wanting to make sure that the public is aware that they can choose a nurse practitioner for their healthcare provider. We certainly focus on the whole person. As we approach patient care, we want to make sure that we're dealing with not only physical health, but mental health that plays a huge role in how we feel overall. So we have a website, wechoosenps.org. And for those who want to find a nurse practitioner to provide their care, I would certainly encourage folks to utilize that website.
Great information. Stephen Ferreira, president of the National Association of Nurse Practitioners. Thanks very much for taking time to do this.
Thank you so much for having me.
An update now on our viewer poll tonight. The question up on your screen asking, how many days do you think that will hit 100 this year? Almost 400 people weighing in. 60.8% of respondents say 6+ days. 29.4% say it'll be somewhere between 3 and 5 days. Almost 10% say up to 2. This poll is live right now. To cast your vote, you can scan the QR code right there on your screen. It will take you over to our X page where you can weigh in.
All right, let's talk about your weather. We're likely to get through this night without getting wet, but tomorrow not so much.
Yeah, we've got a good chance, decent chance of seeing some showers and storms. A couple of those could be on the strong side, which is why we're in our code red alert. We're also watching a few thunderstorms to the northwest for this evening. And I would say maybe a stray storm or two possible for those Henry County, Trigg County, Christian County. Rest of us should get by relatively quiet for the overnight and into tomorrow morning here. In fact, we take a look at your forecast here. Temperatures will be in the low 70s, 6 a.m. up to about 87 by 9 o'clock with mainly sunny skies. So overall, fairly quiet for the morning hours, but we get into the afternoon and that's when the storms will arrive. Until they do, the heat will be the big story here. So this is Wednesday. We're looking at temperature and heat index value. By noon, we are likely looking at heat index values right around 100 in Clarksville, as well as Nashville, upper 80s for Crossville. And then as we get into 1, notice how sharp the temperature drop is in Clarksville. And that's because we've got rain coming in. So the model is indicating rain, and we'll see a sharp drop in temperatures once it comes through. As we get into the later part of the afternoon, you can see Nashville then drops back into those 70s by about 3-4 p.m. And then Crossville finding a few showers possible here, but temperatures kind of hover in those 80s until we get more into the 5 o'clock hour, and that's when we'll see rain there. So you can kind of easily see when some of these showers and storms will be pushing through, as evident by the temperature drop that we see throughout the late afternoon hours. So looking at this on a wide view, you can see through 10 a.m. most of those showers are still toward north and west. I'd say afternoon is going to be the time frame that we're looking at more showers to pop up here. Won't be until later though that we have the front moving through. So we will have the threat for a few showers and storms throughout midday and afternoon. But as we get into the evening hours, we'll have to at least keep a chance around until the front finally pushes pushes through, which will be Wednesday evening into early Thursday morning. We do dry out for Thursday. We cool down a few degrees too, but unfortunately that heat makes a comeback just in time for your weekend. We're going to be looking at temperatures soaring once again into the upper 90s with heat index values in the 100 range. Humidity should be a little higher than what we've been experiencing here for the beginning of the week. So Friday around 98 degrees with a heat index right around 106, 98 on Saturday with 110 as the heat index. And then by Sunday, we're looking at 95 with a few showers and thunderstorms to go along with it. So unfortunately, the heat isn't going anywhere. And even as we head into early next week, we continue to see temperatures in those mid 90s. That'll be from Monday and Tuesday. We'll look at, I would say, showers and storms to be pretty isolated for Saturday and Sunday, and then drying out as we head into early next week.
And changing up the pricing game, what you won't.
In business news tonight, Walmart is planning to ditch the regular paper price tags that we have become accustomed to seeing on store shelves in favor of digital labels, and that has some customers, well, I'll just say it, concerned. Technology tested at Walmart locations in Texas is using a central server to control the electronic price display that you see on shelves. Some fear the store will start using this surge pricing, where stores essentially raise the price if the demand is high. Surge pricing is being used right now by companies including Uber, Lyft, and Ticketmaster to make the most of periods of high demand.
Well, earlier this year, Wendy's came under fire for a plan to introduce digital menus with dynamic pricing. Walmart says price switches will only occur when the store is closed, and say the new technology is about improving efficiency, allowing them to update prices quickly. Ask the customer how popular surge pricing is.
Right.
Yeah.
I like, what did they say? What company was it? Dynamic pricing.
Right.
I liked that word.
Let's put a little spin on it.
What about having to whip out your phone, though, to find out, how much the crackers are? I just assume, good Lord, I don't like the idea.
It seems foreign to us now, but I wouldn't be surprised. This is, one of those waves. It's the wave of the future.
I don't know. Uber took some flack for it, too.
Yeah.
They were not popular for a while.
I'm stubborn and willing to just say no, but that's just me. All right. Just ahead, a block party tonight on 2nd Avenue downtown. We'll tell you what the mayor and others are celebrating.
Years.
New tonight, a single-engine airplane makes an emergency landing today near Gainesboro in Jackson County. It happened on a field really on Salt Lick Creek Road, which is pretty close to the Jackson and Smith County line right here. This is Gainesboro, I should say. This is located roughly 90 minutes east of Nashville. The aircraft in question was on the way from Ohio to Murfreesboro when it began to have some engine problems. The pilot got on the radio, declared an emergency. Jackson County Dispatch sent emergency crews to the scene there just in case, but you see the plane on the ground, all intact. 2 people were on board. Neither was hurt. No word yet on the exact nature of that engine trouble.
Also new tonight, dozens of folks turned out for a big block party on 2nd Avenue. Tonight, Mayor Freddie O'Connell hosting a celebration for the businesses on 2nd Avenue. It's been 3.5 years since the devastating Christmas Day bombing in 2020, and since then the city and businesses in the area have slowly spent time rebuilding 2nd Avenue. Police Chief Drake and Police Officer James Wells, one of the Nashville 6 heroes from the bombing, attended this evening's block party.
I'm Jeff Harrison, Washington. New weight loss drugs could soon be hitting the market and at a cheaper price. Hear why experts say they also might be more effective. Coming up.
It is more powerful than any pill. I'm Liz Bonus, but how much exercise does it really take to bring blood pressure down? We share the latest report just ahead.
This is Fox 17 News at 10, your Code Red station.
We begin tonight with a code red weather alert because of the threat of storms tomorrow.
Fox 17 Code Red Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan tracking the chances. And Katie, not everyone will see these storms?
Yeah, the severe weather is going to be isolated. I think most of us have a decent shot at seeing some rain and maybe some thunderstorms. But as far as severe weather goes, those storms should be isolated in nature. What we would find with these storms, a wind and hail threat. These are not tornadic storms, but we will have the potential for a couple bursts of wind and maybe some hail too. And where we don't have the rain, it's possible that we could see heat index values around 105 plus in some places. It'll just depend on how long the dry weather is around. So for Wednesday, you can see all of us in this level 1 threat out of 5. And we'll continue to at least see again that marginal risk for severe weather going throughout the day tomorrow. I've also been watching these thunderstorms throughout the evening, but over the past hour, notice how they have just fallen apart. So that's good news, but we'll continue to at least keep a small chance for thunderstorms in the forecast to the northwest for tonight. Most of those should be below severe limits. We have more storms to the north and west that'll be pushing our way. But again, I think a lot of that should dissipate or at least weaken before it reaches Middle Tennessee. Future track keeps us pretty dry, in fact, through tomorrow morning. But notice as we head towards 9, 10, 11 o'clock that we're starting to see a few showers to the north and west. Here's 2 o'clock, couple pop-ups possible here. And then a little bit later in the afternoon, more showers and storms possible for us. So timing right now, it's a little iffy, but it's looking like more so in the afternoon and into the evening hours. Still quite warm out there, still feeling like the upper 80s. We'll talk about the heat and what it's looking like as we head towards your weekend. That all coming up in your Fox 17 Code Red forecast.
New tonight, Tennessee Secretary of State sends thousands of letters just like this across our state warning people to make sure that they're a U.S. citizen before they vote. Now, Secretary of State Trey Hargett would say this is about election integrity.
But that's not how it's landing on some people who said they received those letters. Some say it actually feels like intimidation. Fox 17 News' Karen Aguilar joining us live from the state capitol tonight with both sides of this debate.
One woman who tells me she received the letter says that she's worried that it's going to stop the people who received the letter from actually going out and voting. But she tells me she's not talking about undocumented immigrants. In fact, she says she's talking about those who became U.S. citizens like herself. If you received the letter, state officials say it could be because you were not a U.S. citizen when you got your ID. But like Maria, some people say they received it even if they were naturalized citizens.
I think it's concerning because naturalized citizens have the same right to vote as citizens who were born in the United States.
I don't think they should feel offended, particularly if there is a gap period between when people come to the country and later become citizens.
The letter reminds people that voting illegally is a felony. You could pay a fine or end up in jail. If anybody has any questions about the letter, you can contact the election division. That number will be up on our website at fox17.com. Reporting live in Nashville, Karen Aguilar, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
So really it's going to limit the access to public use completely.
I think they need another marina here.
Continuing coverage tonight on a proposed marina project in Gallatin on Old Hickory Lake. Critics there fear that the extra traffic will, really to have a negative impact on what's happening up there at the lake. The Army Corps of Engineers will have the final say. And Fox 17 News' Caitlin Miller's live downtown at the Bicentennial Mall area with both sides of this debate.
Well, Scott, a marina owner that we spoke with, says that this proposal raises major safety concerns, whereas a boater we spoke with says that they need more boat slips at Old Hickory Lake to keep up with this demand. Now, according to the Army Corps of Engineers, the project consists of a dry storage facility, boat slips, fuel dock, restaurant, and parking areas. This new marina could bring up to 500 new boaters to the lake. Jet skier Alan Coker says it's necessary to keep up with the increase in boaters on the lake. But Nate Rubright, who owns Gallatin Marina, argues the damage to the community and environment with a marina in that location would be detrimental.
The proposed Foxton Harbor Marina is right in the heart of where most of the recreational boaters go to tube and ski and swim with their kids, and putting a large marina right there is just going to prohibit any recreational activities in this part of the lake.
I think they need another marina here. My sister and them just left the one up east of here, and the Corps of Engineers will not dredge it out because it needs dredging. It's only that deep, and they had trouble getting out.
Rubright says they can add 150 more boat slips by the spring to address this issue, and says that Cherokee Marina can build 50 more boat slips on this lake by the end of this summer. Now, the Army Corps of Engineers says that the draft is currently being written by a consultant right now. Then the Corps of Engineers will review this, and this document will be available for public review, they say, within the month. Reporting live from downtown, I'm Caitlin Miller, Fox 17 News, your Code Red station.
For the first time, we're getting a look inside the Covenant School more than a year since the tragic mass shooting. 3 children and 3 staffers died inside that Christian school. Workers remodeled the building, putting an emphasis on healing. And you can see the messages on the wall with words like hope, kindness, and love. There's a rainbow theme as well, representing healing and protection. The new head of school, Trudy Waters, says the rainbow is also a symbol for the school. It appeared several times following the tragedy.
It's just hard to hold that really hard and that really hopeful in the same space, and we've had to learn to do it.
Billy Joel's Foundation supported the school's performing arts program, adding new lighting, sound systems, instruments, and performing space.
New tonight, some Jackson County pasture land becomes a makeshift runway today. You see the plane there right over top of the fire truck's engine. The pilot was making his way from Ohio to Murfreesboro, forced to make an emergency landing here near the Jackson and Smith County line. Now, here's a map of the area we're talking about. This is Nashville. This is Gainesboro, which is the county seat in Jackson County. The area where the plane landed here is pretty close to the Smith and Jackson County line, Salt Lick Creek Road, roughly 90 minutes east of Nashville. Now, there's a popular park and a campground that is in this area as well. The plane was headed to Murfreesboro, which is roughly 75 miles away, and I'm trying to find it on the map here, and I know where everything is, but I'm having a hard time nailing this one. There we go, the borough at the bottom of the map, roughly 75 miles away, as we say, from the crash site.
Now to Operation Crime and Justice, country music star Darius Rucker making a brief appearance in a Williamson County courtroom this morning. He faces misdemeanor drug possession and registration violation charges from a February 2023 traffic stop. Darius Rucker will be back in court in September.
I'm Jeff Harrison, Washington. New weight loss drugs could soon be hitting the market and at a cheaper price. Hear why experts say they also might be more effective. Coming up.
Nearly 22 million children living in America rely on schools for their meals. Fox 17 News and our parent company, Sinclair Broadcasting, are partnering with
And a Fox 17 News health alert tonight about some new obesity drugs heading to a pharmacy near you.
Fox 17 News' Jeff Harris tonight shows us how many of these new drugs, how many we're talking about, and the change that researchers, are trying to accomplish.
Some researchers are looking to take things a step beyond diabetes and weight loss and focus on improving liver function and also reducing some side effects like muscle loss. At the upcoming American Diabetes Association conference, researchers are expected to present data on 27 GLP-1 drugs that are currently in development. Drugs that are currently on the market, like Ozempic and Wegovy, have proven to be effective, but researchers want to provide cheaper options that have less side effects. These medications would help people feel full longer. Plus, in several of the new drugs, a different hormone is being used, which regulates blood sugar and can imitate exercise.
You can have some similar weight loss, but with less nausea and vomiting than you see with some of the other drugs.
Instead of 20 to 25% body weight loss, we now seeing 15 to 20%, but without the significant side effects that some people may experience.
A few companies developing these experimental drugs released some data ahead of the conference. One drug helped reduce body weight by an average of 8.6% in 16 weeks. Another helped people lose 15.6% of their body weight after 48 weeks. Approval by the FDA for these weight loss drugs could take a few years, but experts say expanding the number of weight loss drugs that are currently on the market is important for several reasons, including driving down the cost and also helping with shortages. I'm Jeff Harris reporting from Washington.
Rocky Top reaches the mountaintop of college baseball.
Attention online shoppers. Amazon has set its Prime Day sale for Tuesday, July 16th at 12:01 a.m. and it runs through Wednesday, July 17th. It's the 10th time the retailer has held the summer sale, which prompts other retailers to offer deals. This year, Amazon is promising new deals dropping as often as every 5 minutes. Walmart's deals kick off July 8th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time and continue to July 11th. Both companies are promising price cuts on electronics and other items, and they are both making a big push for back-to-school shopping. And check this out. Your Instagram and Facebook posts could be training AI tools. European regulators now forcing Meta to pause its plan. But here at home, the tech giant has already been tapping into posts since September. The cyber guy says to opt out, set your Facebook or Instagram accounts to private.
You can go to Menu, Settings and Private Settings, tap Posts within Audience and Visibility section, and then change to Friends or Only Me and never have it on public.
Meta releasing a statement saying, quote, "We're committed to building AI at Meta responsibly. Using publicly available information to train AI models is an industry-wide practice and not unique to our service." That's business. CJ Papa, Fox News.
Very surreal. Hard to center yourself, which is a good thing. Being lost in the moment, I guess. Nothing too intelligent to say, other than the first thing to say is I hope the fans that have turned this into an insane party, an insane event, got the series that they wanted and that they deserved.
Head coach Tony Vitello quick to mention the fans after winning the program's first ever national title. He knows how long it's been since the school won a championship, 2009 to be exact, and another Vol that knows how long it's been? This guy, legendary quarterback Peyton Manning. He was there for Game 3 last night, cheering on the Vols as they beat Texas A&M, and he knows just how special a moment this is for the University of Tennessee.
It's awesome. It's awesome. I don't know any other word to describe it, right? We've been knocking on the door these past several years, and we've been close, kind of had our heart, ripped out, but you keep fighting, right? You don't say, hey, that was our shot, now, we're never get another shot. You just keep fighting, right? And I kind of live that as a player, and I have a real appreciation for Tony and these players for just continuing to fight and saying, hey, we're doing something right. Let's just keep knocking on the door. Let's keep sawing wood, and good things are going to happen, and they sure did happen tonight in Omaha.
Nashville Predators making more moves this offseason and today acquiring 19-year-old defenseman Andrew Gibson from the Detroit Red Wings. Gibson was a second-round pick by the Red Wings in last year's draft. He scored 12 goals and 32 assists in 68 games in the Ontario Hockey League earlier this season. In return, Preds will send forward Jesse Kinskinen and a second-round pick. Preds also releasing their preseason schedule today, 6 games total, which include matchups against Carolina Hurricanes, Tampa Bay Lightning, and recently crowned Stanley Cup champions, the Florida Panthers. First 2 games will be against the champs. That will be a doubleheader on Sunday, September 22nd. And exciting news for the franchise today as former general manager David Poile and former defenseman Shea Weber have both been elected to the Hockey Hall of Fame. Poile will join the hall as a builder. Weber will join as a player. But a special moment for the organization, especially since Poile and Weber are the very first members of the Preds to be inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame. A big congrats to them, the first, but certainly not the last. Jill Jelnick, Fox 17 Sports, your Code Red station.
Going into tomorrow, the potential for a few strong thunderstorms will exist Along a line of showers and storms, I think the better risk for showers and storms will be around for the afternoon and the early evening hours. And along with it, maybe an isolated strong thunderstorm. So not a great risk, but some risk for tomorrow. Most of these will be wind and hail. This is not a tornado type setup for us. So most of these again will be gusty winds, maybe some small hail, even some heavy pockets of rain as well. It'll be for all of Middle Tennessee and into southern Kentucky here. It is a level 1 out of 5 threat for tomorrow. And again, this is pretty typical of summer pattern type weather where we have these really low end severe weather threats. And again, most of them are wind and hail threats for us. Through tomorrow morning, future track keeping us fairly quiet. Can't completely rule out a stray shower toward the north and west, but most of us stay dry for the first half of the morning here. Notice as we head towards noon, a line trying to make its way into Middle Tennessee here. This is the latest run of future track. It is the most aggressive that I have seen yet, but nonetheless, we will have some of these showers and storms around 2 o'clock here in Nashville, possibly. And then as we head deeper into the evening hours, we can see that our chances for rain begin to taper off. Not completely, though. I'd say it won't be until about 9-10 p.m. that we'll be finally in the clear, and we'll start to see those clouds clear out as well, leaving us with mainly clear to partly sunny sky for Thursday, and temperatures dropping a couple degrees as well. Will be quite warm for tomorrow too. Temperatures in the mid-90s for the afternoon, but tomorrow is definitely our better day for rain. Thursday and Friday looking dry. Saturday, Sunday and Monday we'll see those temperatures quite warm with a few thunderstorms to go along with it. As far as Wednesday goes, right around 92. That's at 10 o'clock. Looking at 95 or so for the afternoon high. And again, it would be highly dependent on how long we stay dry. The longer that we see these storms hold off, the higher the heat could be. And heat index values for tomorrow could be hotter, reaching the 105 plus category in a lot of spots, especially along and west of I-65. So I do think the humidity is going to be going up for tomorrow, and you will definitely feel it. So as far as heat index values are concerned, area wide, you can see by tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. we've got mid-90s, 100 degrees by 10 o'clock. And as we head towards the lunch hour, you can start to see that change happening to the north and west. So indicating that there's rain moving in, a sharp cutoff as far as temperature dropping from Dickson at 100 as far as how it feels to Hopkinsville at 75. That'll continue as we go into Wednesday afternoon, and those showers and storms continue to work their way through the area. Eventually, all of us dropping back into the 70s for the overnight. Staying pretty mild, we'll be looking at mainly clear skies for the most part here. As we get into tomorrow, showers and thunderstorms will be around. A stray strong thunderstorm can be ruled out, which is why we'll stay in code red mode for tomorrow. 92, slightly cooler for Thursday. High heat returns for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Upper 90s close to 100 degrees. Heat index values on Saturday could be close to 110.
Well, the heat is the topic of tonight's Fox 17 viewer poll. The question, how many 100-degree days do you think we will have this year? 402 people weighing in, and the majority, 60.4%, say they think we're going to have 6 or more. I'll tell you, we only had 2 last year. My fingers are crossed we don't beat that one. 3 to 5, 29%, and 0 to 2, as I say, which is what we had last year, 9.7%. Poll still live. If you'd like to weigh in, just scan the QR code there on the right-hand side of your screen, or you can go to our X page, the old. New tonight, Russia issuing a formal warning to the U.S. ambassador, one stemming from an attack that was done against Russia by Ukraine.
Well, Russia is pointing fingers at the U.S. because they say American weapons were used. Fox 17 News' Christine Prezau has more on the threat.
Sounds of laughter followed by panic at a beach in Sevastopol, Crimea, the site of a missile strike Sunday launched by Ukraine. Russian authorities say more than 150 people were injured and at least 4 killed, including 2 children, and are blaming the United States.
Washington is directly involved, not only by supplying the missiles, but also fully controlling their flight missions. The strike targeting civilians in Sevastopol will not go unanswered.
The U.S. State Department brushing off the threat with a reminder it was Russia that started the war in Ukraine in the first place.
We provide weapons to Ukraine so it can defend its sovereign territory against armed aggression. That includes in Crimea, which of course is part of Ukraine. And Russia could stop this war today.
Instead, there are new fears of escalation. With new reports, Russia's considering violating a treaty it signed and planning to launch a nuclear anti-satellite weapon into orbit. Also last week, signing a defense pact with North Korea and recently bringing one of its nuclear-powered submarines to Cuba, incredibly close to the United States. For its part, the U.S. is expected to announce another $150 million in munitions for Ukraine. And last week, the Pentagon gave Ukraine's military the green light to use long-range missiles provided by the U.S. to strike targets inside Russia.
The Russians right now are trying to pitch this both internationally and domestically, the war in Ukraine, as one now increasingly between Russia and not Ukraine, but the West and especially the United States.
Seth Jones says there are two reasons for this. First, domestically, it helps Putin at a time his economy isn't doing great and tens of thousands of Russian soldiers are dying in the war. But also internationally, to continue to bring in military aid from countries like China and Iran, who see the U.S. as an adversary. In Washington, I'm Christine Frizzau.
It is more powerful than any.
In a Fox 17 News health alert about how much daily exercise you need to effectively battle high blood pressure.
As Fox 17 News medical reporter Liz Bonus explains, it's not nearly as much as you might think.
Hey there, hello to you. Fitness trainers have long known that exercise can be as powerful as any pill. Now a new study shows just how powerful when it comes to controlling high blood pressure.
I already can tell I feel a little stronger. I can go for longer when doing cardio, so walking or on the elliptical especially.
Mary Mills knows the power of exercise, not just for blood pressure, but for pushing through weight loss plateaus. About a year ago this month, she had weight loss surgery.
Since June, I've lost over 100 pounds. Yeah, I've still got more to go, but it's been pretty life-changing.
But right now, the amount of exercise she's doing each week here at Ohio's Tri-Health Fitness and Health Pavilion is just about the amount this new study recommends to control high blood pressure.
Research shows the minimum is about 150 minutes worth of cardio per week.
Karen Sims runs the medical exercise program here.
So we are a program that is set up to help folks that have any kind of medical issue or physical issue that may either be benefited by exercise or, just for people that want to exercise but may have some challenges in order to do it.
She says what's interesting is this study shows it doesn't matter how many minutes you get per day, as long as you total that 150 minutes of cardio per week.
It seems that the amount of time you do cardio is more important than the intensity at which you do the cardio.
While this is not the only step to bring blood pressure down, Karen says start by doing something fitness related each day and just build